Armada book for Chapter 7 The Invisibles Part 2. Keelmill appeared from his union with the Krinsin. How did it go? Ellie asked. Amazing is an understatement. The ship or Krinsin is like our collective with an almost infinite knowledge base of experiences and thoughts of millions of Trunties that integrated with it. Now the living ones are also integrated with it but only in thoughts, not actual experience. The ship was actually amazed that I can show them much more than what they have seen or integrated. I actually linked the ship to our collective for a while and the ship was happy. So now several hundred Macs are in the various Krinsins and trying to connect them to our collective. Some of them have started to absorb the information and thoughts and experiences through these Macs. The Macs are also absorbing and transferring the experiences, knowledge and thoughts to our collective. That is so cool. So now you know them at their level. Rabina said. Yes, these are very advanced creatures, very peaceful, like Macs. Their technology is way out of our league. The Krinsins make the Trunties happy and vice versa. They also behave like children in their happy state. Keelmill said. Like people we know. Ellie said. Keelmill smiled and said, when we party. The Krinsins are all very happy. That is a big surprise for us. Sungun said. Thousands of Macs are going into their underground tunnels to plant the collective underground. What did you mean, way out of our league? Ellie asked. They're really different. They do not need matter to do things, they just think of it and it's done. Keelmill said. We invited 100 of them to our ship. Shall we go? Linda asked. They were beamed straight to the mess hall. The cooks and servers were rushing to fill the food trays on the counters. Sungun, tell your people to form a line from here to there so we can get our food in an orderly manner. Linda said. I think it would be better to seat them all and bring small portions of all the food on the table so they can just taste them. Sungun said. Sure, we can do that. Jesse, tell the guys to put the food in small portions and bring them to each table. Linda said. The Trunties seated themselves and the food appeared on their table. Sungun just stood there and looked at his people getting seated. Very quietly. Ellie and Rabina were standing beside the tables and they observed the Trunties touch the food, swipe it with their hairy fingers and put their fingers in their mouths. They laugh ecstatically, although quietly, when they like a food and frown when they don't. These guys are like children at the elementary school cafeteria. Happy and ecstatic, sad and angry, but all quiet. So strange. Ellie said. Kids are noisy, these are not noisy, so that makes it really strange. Rabina added. Sungun turned to Ellie, I cannot talk to Krinsin. How far are we from the planet? About 80 mly. We traveled that far and we did not even notice. Sungun said. Tell me Sungun, are you always visited by people trying to get your water? Ellie asked. Yes, we have never shown anybody the water source though. Are you willing to show it to us? Ellie asked. Yes. He looked at Ellie who just stared back. The Macs asked the Krinsin and the Krinsin happily agreed. Will it make us invisible? Ellie asked. No. I believe it only works with us. Our bodies have adapted for millions of years to the water and you have not. Now we don't even need it to be invisible, our bodies have evolved. Although some of us like to drink the water since we need to drink also, we go down and drink and we feel good. But for you who have not adopted, it may kill you. Sungun said. We also know that you have not traveled the stars. Why is that? Ellie asked. Linda and Lasheen approached them. We believe that we must not be too far from the water. Besides, the Krinsins may not agree to travel. And you know we travel because the Krinsins transfer us to wherever we want to go. But if you can ask the Krinsins to travel, we would be traveling with them. Sungun explained. Keelmill tells me that the Macs have made the Krinsins really happy. Linda said. Yes they have. When the Krinsins are happy, our people are happy. We always strive to make the Krinsins happy because it has always been good to us. The Krinsins work hard to make us happy. And to know the Macs have made it happy is really an achievement. Hundreds of thousands of years have passed since the last time we have seen the Krinsin this happy. Do you want our ship to go nearer so you can connect to the Krinsins? Ellie asked. Yes please. Sungun answered. Jesse, tell the ships to move near the planet. 10 mly around. Linda said. You just tell your ship and that's it? Sungun asked. We have people working behind the scenes to help the ship carry out the task. Sometimes it moves by itself without any need for anybody to help it. Linda said. They continued to observe the Trunties and after a while Sungun felt they were done. He told Linda to beam them all down and send in the next batch. Ari and Debbie were just laughing with the Trunties about something. Why don't we just beam the tables and food down to the underground tunnels so more of your people can get involved? Linda asked. I guess that would be better. Sungun said. Linda, there is still the issue of the rock people. Jesse said. Sun Gun, what would you suggest we do with the 3 ships of intruders? Linda asked. Can you just return them to their world? Sun Gun asked. Yes, but they will still come back. We must tell them not to come back. Linda said. We don't want to hurt any of them. Sun Gun said. Jesse, can you please beam all of them in one ship and beam them to their home world? We will talk to them later. Tell the Norsets to board the empty ships and study it. You must be very powerful to be able to do what you just told your ship. Sun Gun said. No, we do this all the time. Ask your Krinsin. Linda said. How does the Krinsin look like? Ari asked as she got nearer to Sun Gun. They look like the herd that ran around you. Those are Krinsins but very young. When they drink enough water and eat more of the plants, they grow big. Then they grow even bigger than bigger. Once they reach a certain age, the Krinsin communicates with them, since they are actually their offsprings, and tell them to start becoming invisible. Then once invisible, the Krinsins tell them how to defy their own weight. This process takes thousands of years. Now Trunties takes care of them along the way and they learn to take care of us since the Krinsins tell them so. How do you guys reproduce? Debbie asked. Each Truntie is born with 2 eggs. The eggs mature when we are about 1,500 years and then we have to excrete them and lay them inside the Krinsins. The Krinsins takes care of the eggs until they become 4 times their original size and keep them safe until they hatch. Then we have Trunties that live in the Krinsins and whose duty it is to care for the offsprings until they are 100 years old. Then they release them to the ground and move them around. Sun Gun explained. That is so fascinating. Ellie said. How long does a Krinsin live? Ari asked. I don't know. We have no knowledge of any Krinsin dying. They are really living beings regenerating like trees and plants. Some parts die, some regenerate and grow. Some parts of it reproduce to maintain its health as we feed it either with water or our dead bodies. In some cases, we feed it with plants on the ground. But only when the Krinsins asks us to. Sun Gun said. So the herd are their babies? How does Krinsins reproduce? Debbie asked. A Krinsin bear eggs, hundreds. Then they let them lay inside them and Trunties take care of these eggs. Then these eggs hatch to become those animals you saw. That is so fascinating. Ellie said. I think it's really a good idea for you to go to the Krinsins so they can tell you all you need to know. Sun Gun said. Now that you have met the Max and the Max have planted the collective plant underground in your planet, you will never be alone. You will always get visits from us and the Max. You can also communicate to the Max and to us. Linda said. You and your kind will always be welcome. And yes, we will always be in touch with you. You have made us very happy with your food, your experiences, and your thoughts. Sun Gun said. You will find out that the galaxies are full of bad guys who enslave and take advantage of other species. So we will leave some probes around your planet so we would know about any intruder or potential threat to your planet. Ellie said. You are very kind but you don't have to. We can deal with anything as we have for millions of years. Also, we have access to the Max already so we will communicate anything we need through them. Now we are near. I can hear a Krinsin looking for us. It actually wants you to see it inside and out. Sun Gun said. Linda looked at Keelmill. It's okay guys, you will find it to be an unbelievable and amazing experience. Okay Sun Gun, tell the Krinsin we agree. Linda said. They were all transported inside the Krinsin. Sun Gun was there and, as you can see, it is like a large cave although it has the color of the herd below. Whatever you like, just think of it and it will know and give it to you. Can I bring my dead brother back to life? Lasheen asked. No. Sun Gun said. I like boots, can it give me the boots I am thinking? Ari asked. Linda looked at her. I believe if it was just matter, it can do that. But it cannot give life to a dead being. He looked at Lasheen. A pair of red boots appeared in front of Ari. Then another in front of Debbie. Then a large flask of water appeared before Ellie. This is the water you are talking about, Sun Gun. I would like to study it. Ellie said. The Krinsin will give you all the knowledge you need to know about it. Sun Gun said. How? Just think about it, say you want to have the knowledge and you will have it. Hey, I know. Ellie said. Let me know also. Ari said. Wow, I also know. Lasheen said. Meto. Debbie said. I also know about the Krinsin. You should ask more. Rabina said. They all stood quietly as the Krinsin transfer knowledge into them. Tell Rebecca to come over here, Jesse. I want her to ask the right questions also. Linda said. I told you it would be an experience. The Krinsin is happy that you all are enjoying this, Sun Gun said. Rebecca appeared and Rabina explained to her what they are doing. The Krinsin transfers to each what they all asked for individually, Sun Gun said. Until, what, we can talk to Max telepathically? Ari exclaimed. You can talk to us telepathically also, The Krinsin is careful not to overload your brains. It compressed most of the information so your brains can access them when you need to. Sun Gun said. That is so amazing. Now I can talk telepathically with all of you. Even you, Sun Gun. Ellie said. Keelmill and more than 4 dozen Norsets appeared and just stood there quietly, the Trunties holding their hands. Krinsin is happy with the Norsets. Their experiences are all so new and enjoyable, although not as enjoyable as the Max. But the Krinsin is very much amazed at you, Lachine. Sun Gun said. Amazed at my thoughts and experiences? Lachine asked. Amazed about what you will feel, experience and think. You may not know it consciously, but it sees snippets of what you can see in the future. Sun Gun said. There are several of us like this. I am the dumbest in the class. Ask the Max, they'll probably say the same thing. Lachine said. The girls laughed at her. There are some Krinsins in on the game already. Like we are talking with all the Krinsins. Ellie said. Yes, that's how it is, Sun Gun said. Ellie looked at Keelmill. Keelmill explained, Ellie, the Krinsin chose these Norsets, not me. It only chooses who to talk to. It's just that you are the first to contact them and the Trunties, and you get first dibs on anything you like. You could say you girls are the closest to them among all the humans. It's choosing to give information to the Norsets but not to us. Why? Ellie asked. They are best at those things. You get to have some things they don't get. It does not want to overload you with knowledge. You can just ask the Norsets. You will then share amongst yourselves the knowledge peculiar to you. And Ellie, your experience among the galaxies in all your adventures are truly amazing to us. Now we know about the galaxies and how you resolve problems to help thousands of planets. But more than information, these Norsets, like you, are changing in the way they think, process and solve problems. Sun Gun explained. How about me and Ari? We get all these knowledge, we don't even know if we'll ever use them. Although being telepathic has its advantages. Debbie said. It's really cool. Ari said. Once you go back to your world you will be doing things you will be surprised you can do. You will be able to think better and faster, solve problems better, and so on. You will be physically the same but your brains have expanded 10 times in its abilities. Again, don't worry, the Krinsin was careful not to overload you. Sun Gun said. The Krinsin chooses only those it wants to communicate to? Linda asked. Just remember, you were all chosen. Please tell those who want to follow in your footsteps that the Krinsin chooses what it wants to transfer knowledge to and give the telepathic abilities. These Norsets already have this telepathic ability, so they are not new to this ability. The Krinsin will always tell you which ones it chooses, but all Max are chosen anytime they like. Sun Gun said. I think we should protect your planet from any and all intrusions. Remember, all our actions are known in the Armada, and I think the Armada will look at it this way. In a way your secret is out already. I will deploy over 100 probes at 60 mly so they will not intrude in your space. Linda said. 60 mly is really very far. I guess you can do whatever you like. Just remember we can always protect ourselves like we have for millions of years. Sun Gun said. Lachine felt something and looked at Ellie. Not again. Ellie exclaimed. The Krinsin is amazed at what Lachine suddenly felt and saw. Like coming out of nowhere. It may not be clear to Lachine, but it was very clear to Krinsin. Sun Gun said. I did not even see a thing. Just a feeling. Lachine said. The Krinsin saw 5 ships being chased by a group of 500 or so. It has Max as part of the crew. The crew will not last an encounter. Once they catch up they will all be killed. Sun Gun said. We have to leave. Jesse, tell all the ships to prepare to leave. Jesse, are you listening? Linda asked. Linda, you are not talking but thinking. Jesse cannot hear you. Sun Gun explained. Can you make our ships hear us? Ellie asked. Krinsin is making you emit waves your ships can pick up when you think. You must only create the equipment that will enable your ships to listen to you. The Norsets have this, but Krinsin is giving you all the information to build this equipment, which is far more advanced. Sun Gun said. So now we have to talk, guys. Talk from now on. We have to work on the equipment. Rabina, Rebecca, Debbie, you're the team on this. Ellie said, and the 3 nodded. Sun Gun, thank you, and we will be back when we get back. Linda said. Back on Linda's bridge. Jesse, where's Andrew? His group is parked near planet Los Angeles. Roger, Junie, Eric and Gadden are also on the planet. Manpat and Sarudam are back in their galaxies getting the casinos started. Tell them about our mission and if they can meet us at an intercept point. Jesse showed a hologram of the route. Here, tell them to meet us here. ETA at the intercept point is 5 days. Andrew and the others can meet us at that intercept point if they leave in 3 days. Then it will be another 3 days before we are within beaming range of the 5 ships. Sun Gun appeared. Linda, one of the medium-sized Krinsin, wants to ride with Ellie, since her ship has a bigger cargo bay. 1,000 Trunties will be with the Krinsin. It could be dangerous. We might get them killed. Linda said. Then that would be a first for a Krinsin. Don't worry, Linda, the Krinsin can take care of itself. Ellie appeared. A Krinsin is in my cargo bay. These guys are very insistent. Linda said. I guess now we can have our scientists get some extra knowledge and some abilities. You only need to ask the Krinsin, Ellie. I will leave now. By the time they met with Andrew, Roger and Eric, all their crew have gone through the Krinsin. Rabina, Debbie and Rebecca has installed the telepath equipment on all their ships so they can now talk to them telepathically. The girls all beamed to Andrew's bridge where Roger, Gadden and Eric were waiting. Hello, telepaths. Can you read my mind and tell me what I'm telling you right now? Andrew asked. Lasheen sat down. The girls followed quietly. Some were smiling and looking at each other in their small, quiet telepathic world. Fine, you got it right. Now tell me what I am thinking again this time. Andrew said. Boss, you can be telepath yourself if you like. In fact, all our crew can be telepaths. Linda said. Okay, you got it again. But later. Right now, what do we have on the mission? I don't think we did. We cannot hear your thoughts, sir. Linda said. And? Nothing. We have nothing except where the ships will be in 3 days. That there are Max as part of the crew. And that the ships came from galaxies much further out beyond the edge of our sphere near the side of Earth. Ellie said. So they could be alien aliens then. Andrew said. The Max are not alien, but they could be alien Max. Rabina added. And they could be different from the Max we have here, making them alien Max. Eric said. I understand. Boss, are you telepathic already? Roger asked. Okay, before anything else, Keelmill, start with the Norsets. Bring them to the Krinsin. Boss, the Krinsin chooses those it wants to. Linda said. Tell it to choose the Norsets. Andrew said. It chooses the Norsets, boss. Linda said. Then the humans, then the other species. Eric, Roger and I will go to the Krinsin only if it does each of us some favors of our choosing. Andrew said. I like your thinking, boss. Roger said. Meto. Eric said. The Krinsin happily agrees. Linda said. Sir, how on earth did you know? Ellie asked. It better does what I like if it wants to remain in the Armada, otherwise I will beam it to one of the planets together with all the Trunties. Andrew said. Boss, you wouldn't. Linda exclaimed. Maybe I will. It should know me by now and expect all of these to happen. You know what, Uncle Andrew, you're weird. Ari said. Linda looked at Ari and was shocked at the blunt criticism. Thank you, Ari. I am happy you and Debbie are on board. And Debbie, are you learning anything from the smartest women on Earth? Yes, sir, I learned in the past several days zillion times more than what I learned in college. Andrew nodded and smiled. Olive appeared. The Max are installing the telepath equipments on the ships so all the ships can talk telepathically with the crew. After all our crew and ships have become telepathic, we will now start talking without telepathic communications. Andrew said. Now I see your point, boss. Linda said. Meto. Lasheen said. The Krinsin understands also and requests that it be permitted to create the talking devices for the Trunties to use. Ellie said. My thoughts exactly. Tell the Trunties to scatter themselves equally among all our ships and try to become useful part of the crew. Or no food for them. Ari and Debbie, you two are in charge of assigning work to these Trunties. I want them to work like everybody else. Make sure they treat the other crew members as their brethren, as equals, and instill in them a sense of camaraderie. There should be no freeloaders in the Armada, Trunties, or Krinsins. Andrew said. Ari and Debbie saluted. Yes, sir. The Armada, 223 ships in all, were flying at top speed towards the intercept coordinates. While on the way, the crew have become smarter in all aspects of Armada operations. All the scientists were in the middle of a very steep learning curve. They were learning in a day what they would be learning in 1 year in all areas of science and technology. The Krinsins were careful in compressing the information so the scientists can absorb them. In some cases, the transfer had to stop because they have reached the physical limits of the scientists. The Trunties, on the other hand, were learning how to tag, how to install video probes, how to build and repair the drones. They also learned cooking, although the Armada cooks find them unproductive and a nuisance. They learned talking in the major languages present in the Armada. Ari and Debbie started them on music and the arts, learning without using the Krinsin so they can experience the arts by themselves. The Norsets taught them how to hack into systems and interpret data and intel. The Trunties were all excited like children in learning using the manual way rather than thought transfer because they can actually experience learning. After 4 days, only Andrew, Roger and Eric were not telepathic. He then issued the order that communication should always be done using voice and not thought. The Trunties were prepared, as was the Krinsin talking through the ships. The 5 ships will be on screen in 2 minutes. Olive said. Most of the commanders are in Andrew's bridge. Ari and Debbie made it a point to report their progress to Andrew at the end of the day. Sir, so far the Trunties have learned to tag, hack, analyze and interpret data. They have learned to talk all the major languages in the ships. Today, some of them are learning to cook, paint, create music and help out the scientists. They are really very fast learners. Ari said in her latest report. Debbie added, we just don't know how they will perform under stress and threat. Andrew nodded. Launch the 100,000 drones, Olive, and position them between the 5 ships and their pursuers. Tell them to hide among the planets and moons. Andrew said. Those are Maccabee ships, sort of, since their nose have the same nose as our old ships. Gadden said. The 5 ships are overworking their power generators, which have gone down to 30% capacity. They will run out of juice in 5 days and slow down to 40% their current speed. They have removed their cloak to save power. Ellie said. I think they are on their way to the Mac galaxies where they believe they could get help. Linda said. I sense distress among the Macs in those 5 ships. Some of them have not eaten well for days. The sick bays are preparing. Keelmill said. The scans have been started. The largest ship has 48,723 crew members, 32,890 are Macs, the rest are Maccabees. Their weapons are all down, shields are down, their cloaks off. They are conserving power for an extended run. Olive reported. When can we beam in, Olive? Andrew asked. In 28 hours, we will be in beaming range. Boss, I think we would have to engage the pursuers toe-to-toe. I would suggest 2 groups take the flanks. We will deploy drone relays along the way. Roger said. Right, 50 ships under Eric and 50 under you. Leave now. Linda, Lachine, you 2 are with me. Lachine, I want a defensive plan with the flanks attacking. Andrew said. Yes, boss. You'll have it in 4 hours. Lachine said. Linda, prepare the ships for possible on-board fighting in some of the ships nearest the enemy. Andrew said. The next day, Andrew, the 5 ships are moving towards a large planet. This planet seemed to have an extensive cave system, a lot of water. Olive said. Eric and Roger's holograms appear in the mission room. Ellie, Linda, Lachine and a dozen ship commanders were already there. Andrew walks in with Gadden, Keelmill, Ari and Debbie to the mission room. Okay, the ships must be in critical condition. They chose this planet because it has very good defensible positions. They probably want to hide their ships underwater and go into the caves and try to wait out the attack. Linda said. Lachine stood in front. The sudden development of the 5 ships heading for this planet 1.5 MLY from the solar system sun gives us some distinct advantages. Olive produced a hologram of the solar system. First, there is only one way into the planet, and that the pursuers coming from behind the sun will have to go around the sun and turn to head towards the planet. Second, our drones are heavily deployed hidden amongst the planets and moons in 5 solar systems before the pursuers even reach the sun. Eric and Roger will be moving in before they even reach the sun from behind. All we have to do is move 20 ships on this side and 20 on the side, spread out like several tunnels, all hidden of course among the planets and moons. The rest will be positioned behind the planet to take care of any flanking maneuver of the enemy. Lachine explained. We expected the 40 decoy ships will take the brunt of the boarding parties. With this new development, this may not happen at all. So we decided to hide these decoy ships and appear at an opportune time to be decoys. Once the 5 ships deploy on the planet, the pursuing ships would stay in orbit and go down as well. They will deploy more forces on the ground and maybe less or none for boarding other ships. The decoy ships will engage and are prepared with time warps that they would deploy to hold the enemy wherever they would be. Intermittently we would be boarding their ships, and if they are quick, probably not, they can board us while we board them. Linda added. We would send boarding parties to place bombs as we usually do at various points in the route. Eric and Roger would have to send a quick in and out at the rear of the enemy from 10 ships hidden in these 2 gas planets here. Then at this point here, Linda will send her bombers from 10 ships. At this point here I will send bombers from this gas planet before they get near the sun. Hopefully, we would be able to get 200 or 300 ships this way. Lachine said. Once the fireworks start, their shield would be up and we cannot board anymore, and our people would be pretty much on their own. I will move from this direction while Lachine will move using this route, and we will both attack the ships as they divide to go around the sun. We would use the usual 5-ship grouping coming from 8 vectors. Eric and Roger will attack their rear from these points. The drones will attack the large part of the middle. The rest of the Armada will send out another 100,000 drones and attack the enemy as soon as they deploy their people onto the planet. Linda said. The most important point is that we should engage the enemy when they are at their weakest, which is when they finish deploying on the ground. Their ships will be deployed in groups, maybe here, and some here in this area, which are at most 3 MLY away from the target planet. Some will move forward a bit up to here, but still near enough to be in the fight with the people of the 5 ships. The ships will see our ships if we do not hide properly, so starting from the drones to all our ships, we have to make sure none of them can be scanned. Lachine said. I agree with the assessment and the direction of the plans. Good work, Lachine. Linda. Roger said. We have to review our hiding maneuvers for our drones and ships. Eric said. You only have a day to do this. Better get deployed now. Andrew said. A Trunty approached Andrew. His name is Bennett and he introduced himself to Andrew 3 days ago as soon as he got his communicator and started learning English. He told Andrew he was the group leader of all the Trunties that deployed with Krinsin in Ellie's ship. Bennett started, we can make your enemies think you are not there even if you are right in front of them. Like what you call hypnosis. Even if their scanners are screaming at them, they will see or sense nothing. The only problem is that we can only do it for maybe up to 10 hours because there's very few of us and doing this drains a lot of our collective energy. 10 hours is probably much more than we need. We will tell you the best time for it. Be prepared and good work. Andrew said. We try to be useful. Bennett said. Can you make them see the 5 ships on one side of the planet when in fact they are on the other side? Lachine asked. Sure, but all within only less than 10 hours. Bennett said. It will take them 2 hours or so to travel from Eric and Roger's position, then to Linda and Lachine's, then around the sun and onto the planet. Then it will take them maybe another 2 hours to put their people on the planet while taking up positions around the area. I think 10 hours is a lot. Ellie said. If they are unaware during those 4 hours, we can bomb the remaining ships and even tag their leaders. Bennett, is there a way to make them lower their shields? Lachine asked. I think we can do that. We will tell them to lower their shields and we will tell you when the shields are off. Bennett said. To make this clearer, Bennett, before they even reach Eric's and Roger's positions you will tell them to lower their shield for about 4 hours until they round the sun. Linda said. Yes. We can finish the bombing job, tagging work and more in those 4 hours. Lachine said. Good, okay guys, you all know the plan with your vastly intelligent brains. Now get the job done. I will make first contact with the Maccabees with Gadden, Keelmill, and Ellie as soon as we are in beaming range. Andrew said. Sir, for Roger and Eric and you, your brains have not been improved vastly. Ellie said. Very good Ellie, you're learning to joke. That's a vast improvement. Andrew said. The people laughed. Sir, you have to talk to the Maccabees as early as you can so we can get intel from them on the enemy capacities. Linda said and Andrew nodded. The people suddenly began to disappear one at a time. Andrew went straight to his quarters to rest. He woke up from a very long nap after 5 hours. He stepped out into the hall and found the ship quieter than usual. At the bridge Olive showed several screens of people sleeping. They will all wake up within 2 hours. Then the rush will begin. Their ships have all hidden themselves and they still have 8 hours before the enemy ships come within beaming range from Eric and Roger. Are they all in position? Yes Andrew, in position and powered down. Even the drones have powered down. I am down to 10% power usage. Olive added, Andrew, Tonin and Gantley sent for relay drones and are now in position to tell us they are about 750 MLY away in an ambush position on some 370 ships headed this way. They are deploying up to 600 MLY away from here and will commence bombing and tagging from that point to 400 MLY from here. These 370 ships will be here in 2 days. Our forward drones show that the 500 enemy ships are slowing down. They will be in beaming range with Roger and Eric in 2 days. So it's a pincer attack. I hope Tonin and Gantley better not blow our cover. Tell them to be absolutely careful not to be found out.